How's it going? I'm Sarah Christie with iHeartRadio Canada with Charlotte Cardin. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very good. So excited to be talking to you. You know, it was about probably around this time last year where you just absolutely swept at the Junos. Did you find a place for all of them? 4 you took home?
That's so funny. Yes, they're in my studio right now, but they're actually so heavy. Like, I don't know if you've ever weighed one, but they're like 11 pounds each. And so I had them in my car for like a couple days, and I was bringing like one at a time up to the studio because I couldn't hold all of them.
Those would have been handy to have like during at-home workouts. Like,
yeah, I know.
Before the pandemic.
Crazy workout, yeah.
I heard you talk about how, like, as a kid, you were a big fan of Avril Lavigne, and she was there that night. Did you get a chance to meet her?
I didn't, unfortunately, but she gave a really good performance. I was happy to. I had never seen her live, so it was nice to experience that. But no, I didn't get a chance to meet her, unfortunately.
That's kind of fun.
Yeah.
Like to see her perform live, I know.
Yeah.
Now, you also just released 99 Nights, the next single from your new album that's going to be out in August. What is the significance of that being the album title track?
So we wrote the album. So the album is called 99 Nights, and we wrote it. We wrote the core of the album during a very specific summer where I was going through a lot of different personal things, and the 99 Nights kind of represent that time period, like that summer. I mean, obviously the summer isn't exactly 99 nights, but you get the idea. And we wrote it when I was going through lots of stuff, and those moments in the studio where I was surrounded with my friends, because we wrote this album collectively with my friends in Montreal, and those were kind of the moments that like held me together through that like very bittersweet moment of my life. And I feel like you can kind of hear that throughout the album. It's kind of nostalgic, but it's also very playful and happy, and that's kind of what the vibe in the studio was. And so those 99 nights represent that time period where we just started playing around, being, you know, very free with our songwriting and just really playful, kind of expanding our musical playground in the studio all together, between friends.
What a good support system.
Yeah, very therapeutic.
It sounds like it. Yeah. Now, for the video, did you actually have 99 different looks that you rotated through?
No, that was the initial thought. But after like 30, I was like, okay, I think
my head hurts.
I'm getting brain damage. Like, I need to stop that. But it was about 30.
Now, when you were working on Phoenix, I know that was about 4 years in the making. And I'm going to read a quote that you said. This was in reference to the theme, the mood of Phoenix. You said, "I'm good at giving people what I think they want from me." I'm curious, how does that resonate with you now as you're getting ready to release this new body of work in August?
Yeah. Well, I've always kind of, you know, struggled with that, you know, being very like self-aware but self-conscious at the same time, and kind of wanting to give people what I thought was what they wanted from me. And that was something I was dealing with growing up a lot, and I still deal with that a little bit. But I feel like this album, we wrote it with an approach that was just very, I mean, Phoenix was kind of me digging into my wounds and going back to lots of little inner cuts. But this album is different, and it's kind of me just being very anchored in the present moment. And that was a different way of writing music for me, because I used to always go back to those things, and there was a lot of I guess like inner reflection and you know, thinking about really deep things. Whereas for this album, it was more of like, how do I feel right now? I want to encapsulate that in a song. And we did that throughout an entire summer. And so I wasn't thinking about, you know, what people would think receiving those songs, how people would, you know, react to the music, what my fans were expecting, or my family or my friends were expecting. It was just like, how do I feel right now? I want to encapsulate that in a song. And it's really funny because some of the songs that we obviously, because we haven't kept all the songs that we wrote that summer, but some of them are insane, like weird and like almost like hard to listen to. I'm like, this is so bad and weird. But it's just because I feel like every day we were just kind of like very anchored in the present moment, and writing music that way was really, really healing in a lot of ways, and just really fun and yeah, a really nice experience.
That does sound healing and freeing. I also want to hear those weird songs, maybe like Charlotte Cardin After Dark or something.
Yeah, exactly. I should release that. Some of them are funny. Oh my gosh, yeah.
Now, you talked about your musical influences, and you hear it in your music, jazz and hip hop. But when we first met, you said you really wanted to explore country. Are we going to hear that in 99 Nights?
So in 99 Nights, we don't really have that many. No, we don't really have country influences in this album. But I am working on different little things that are kind of like side little projects, and I do still love country music, and I am writing songs that are a little bit country influenced right now. But 99 Nights is something different. It has a lot of guitar tones throughout the album, but it's not really country. It's a different genre, but I do still love my good country music.
But there is an ode to Montreal on the album. So what's the story behind the final track on 99 Nights?
So the final track on the album is called Next to You, and it's a song that I wrote with my dear friend Patrick Watson, who's an amazing, incredible artist and songwriter. And I spent the entire last summer, writing this song. It was like the last song that we wrote for the album, and it's the last track on the album. And it's a song about leaving something behind in order to grow and in order to take on new challenges and to feel like you can fully be yourself again. And what's sad about leaving someone or something behind is that you also leave good parts of that person or that thing. It's never just leaving the negative sides. It's also leaving really positive sides. And when I was writing that song with Patrick, I was making the decision of leaving my hometown, Montreal. I moved to Paris. I live there now. And it was a big deal for me because like leaving Montreal is also leaving my family and my obviously my biggest fan base and my first, my first love of music and everything behind. I mean, it's not as if I'm like leaving forever, but it was still like a big thing for me to move across the ocean. So it's about leaving Montreal behind in order to take on new challenges, and in order to eventually probably go back to it and have a more open heart. But it's a really important track for me. And when people hear it, they usually think it's about someone, but it's actually about my hometown, which I absolutely love. But I just needed to leave for a little bit to, experience new things.
Yeah, that's so special though.
Yeah.
Especially being willing to take the risk to do that and take the leap. Now Confetti, that's out now. Also, we're going to hear that on the full album. Before you found the wall that you filmed the lyric video in front of, what went down?
So what happened was the cover art for Confetti is a photo that was taken by my boyfriend when we were traveling on a tiny little island. It was like super remote in Italy. He took that photo with his point and shoot camera. So it's a film camera. And when we got the photos developed a few weeks later after that trip, I was like, wow, this would make a sick cover for my song Confetti. But then when we wanted to shoot the video, I was like, I wish we could go back to that like exact tile wall. It's like all these little green tiles. And so we tried finding those, those tiles. I called a bunch of friends who I thought maybe had a similar,
like backsplash.
Backsplash, like in their kitchen or something. And we couldn't find anything that was like similar to that. And randomly one day, like months later, I was just driving around in Nice with my creative director and really good friend Maddie, and she's like, "Stop the car." And she pointed at something that was like the entrance of like a big parking lot, an outdoor parking lot. And there was just like, I swear, the tiniest little strip. Like it was so random. It was like a huge wall and a tiny little strip of those exact same tiles. And she was like, "Let's go back tonight and let's just shoot the video." And so that's what we did. I was like literally just like I just wrapped a little towel around myself. I kneeled on the street and then the cars were just driving by and I was like shooting my little music video. I looked insane, but it worked. It looks like it was taken in a bathroom, but it was really right by a parking lot.
The illusion.
The illusion.
Now, you mentioned your boyfriend taking that picture. From my understanding, this is so cool. He took all of the pictures we're going to see for this project?
Yeah, basically. He took almost all of he's a really good photographer. He's not a professional photographer. He has an eye for, taking really nice photos. And so he always carries his point and shoot or his film camera with him. And so we just captured lots of candid moments in our real life. And I was like, I feel like the album that I wrote, this album, 99 Nights, is very much inspired by a lot of things that I was going through with him at the time. And it's not a breakup album at all. Obviously, like, we're still together, but we were going through a lot of stuff. And so writing those songs were kind of my way of escaping certain things that were difficult at the time. And so I thought it was a really good way of like embracing that and anchoring the album into something that was really real, to use the visuals that are super vulnerable, stripped down, natural, and just really seen through the eye of someone that's really, really close to me. And so most of these photos were obviously taken not like thinking they would be a cover or like, you know, or would end up being some kind of promotion for my album. They're just real photos that my boyfriend took, and I thought that was really interesting given the bittersweetness of the album and the whole story behind it. I just thought it made sense to use those photos for that.
It's Instagram boyfriend goals.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
So 99 Nights, the album comes out August 25th. Are you going to be bringing this album on tour? Is that in the works? Or is there anything you can say about a tour yet?
Yeah, of course. So we announced a lot of tour dates that are starting in September. We have dates in all through Canada. We have dates in the States, dates in Europe. And we're also announcing more dates that are coming up. So we're going to have some really, really nice tour dates that we're going to be announcing soon. So
when you put together that set list, will Unwritten by Natasha Beddingfield be on there?
I mean, as a cover? I mean, you mean yeah, I mean, maybe. That's a good idea. I love covering songs, and I love covering like throwbacks. So you know what? Maybe. I have been a little bit obsessed with that song lately. I feel like that's why you're pointing that out.
It's a jam.
Yeah, it is.
It was in like my grad video from school. And so, you know, like you hear some songs and they bring you right back to that moment.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Unwritten definitely completely does that for me too. I kind of think of my whole entire life as like one big soundtrack. I don't know if you do that, but like so I can like associate every moment of like my journey to like super specific songs, because I tend to like listen to the same song over and over and over again when I love it, but for like a week. And so I know how I feel, but Unwritten has that kind of nostalgia to it.
Puts you right back there. Charlotte Cardin, it was so nice talking to you, and congratulations on the new album. I can't wait to hear it in full.
Thank you so much.